if you're in a relationship, more often than not, you don't talk about these things. Like who's going to make the bed, who's going to do the laundry. It usually falls on somebody, whoever has the higher necessity.
Again, at the end of the day, and Emilia and I have something called the we. The we is where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode. It was episode 690, Do You Have Shiny Object Syndrome? Today, for episode number 691, Creating Your Relationship Agreements. So I have here, if you're watching on YouTube, I have my phone because I want to give a shout out to Project Relationship. It is a podcast that... You gotta hit the timer, man. You son of a gun.
That's my bad.
It's a podcast that Taryn has been listening to. And Taryn and I went to a wedding a couple weeks ago. And on the way up there, we were listening to this podcast. And one of the things they talked about was creating relationship agreements. So I think that a lot of people have either unwritten rules in their relationships, or they have rules that they don't necessarily understand. Of, okay, who does the dishes? Who cooks breakfast? Who takes out the trash? Who does this? Who does that? So all this relationship agreement is, and Taryn and I did ours this weekend, is it's you setting your expectations. So Taryn and I got kittens. That is a whole new thing that we're trying to figure out who does what. But we basically sat down, and I'll give her credit because she did most of them and I just added to them. And it was basically, okay, under budgeting, Taryn and Kevin will put X amount into their bank every single month for this. Under groceries, every other week, Kevin will grocery shop. Every other week, Taryn will grocery shop. Whoever goes and buys the groceries will pay. A grocery list will be created the night before, so everybody knows that they're getting their thing. So, again, that's ours. Taryn also had some for personal development. I had some for personal development as well. The moral of the story is this. If you're in a relationship, more often than not, you don't talk about these things. Like who's going to make the bed? Who's going to do the laundry? It usually falls on somebody, whoever has the higher necessity. So Alan and I were talking about this earlier. In my relationship, Taryn is just way more focused on things being clean than I am. Not that I don't care for a clean space. It's just not a priority for me. And it's written in there that I'm going to clean the table. I'm going to Swiffer the kitchen. It just makes it a lot easier for you to figure out who's doing what when. So when that day comes around, you can put it on your calendar and you can get it done.
There's a couple things jumping off the page here. Number one is that clarity is everything because it makes things simple. And the other piece is dividing and conquering. And Emilia and I just moved in together as well. We got a new home, and we were intending on creating a list of what we call optimization, an optimization list. And it's kind of the same type of thing where it's like, okay, not both of us need to grocery shop. Not both of us need to make the bed. Not both of us. Our time is our most valuable asset. And there's things in life that need to get done, just like with Kevin and I with business. And even with the NLU team, we have something called minimums, where you have to show up every single week in this regard because this is what's required of you to be on the team. And so it makes expectations really clear, and I think this makes a lot of sense. And I know that even though Emilia and I didn't stumble upon this podcast, I had asked Taryn to actually send it to us. I asked Kevin as well because I wanted to make sure that we created something like that for our relationship, and then hopefully we'll proliferate that through our clients as well.
And so last Sunday, I woke up and I looked at my calendar because I have it on my calendar as either weekly, bi-weekly, or once monthly tasks. So like once a month I change the filter in the cat's water fountain. They have a water fountain. They're living pretty good.
Yeah, they are.
Pretty good up there in New Hampshire. But I woke up and I knew exactly what had to get done. I could plan accordingly. I could go to the grocery store. I could do laundry. And I think the other thing, too, the important distinction that I learned is that Taryn hates doing dishes. I don't enjoy doing dishes any more than her, but it's not necessarily something I loathe like she does. So it creates the opportunity to avoid resentment. Like, hey, I really don't like doing this. Is that something that you're willing to do? Cool. I meal prepped. No big deal. So, like Alan said, it sets expectations. It also creates some form of a schedule, which I think is super important because people tend to work at a different pace. And I think it also allows two things. It allows for a deeper level of communication, and it allows for a different part of a check-in.
Yeah.
A shameless plug too. These guys are the absolute real deal. For anyone who's listening to this, Kevin and Alan are the realest guys. They're going to go so far, and they're so early in their journey still, because I just know how far they have to go. And everything that they teach, everything that they preach and they're doing is the same exact stuff top of the top guys are doing. They literally have mimicked it to a T. So I absolutely shameless plug for those guys. They have all the greatest intentions to just simply help people grow and want to accomplish their dreams. And so I absolutely just want to say that and let you guys know that you guys are doing an incredible job with everything that you guys are doing for just the community that you guys are building. And, I love to see it, and I can't wait to be able to do more stuff with you guys.
Like, hey, this week this didn't get done. I would reframe it. Hey, this week I felt like you weren't as focused on this. What can we do to make that happen next week?
Right.
I think it just creates a good proactive opportunity to communicate.
And not only is it important because if Kevin doesn't mind the dishes and Taryn hates them, not only is that an opportunity for Kevin to do them, because if Taryn hates them, then that's going to increase the quality of her life a ton. But there's also some things where it's like maybe you're better at a certain thing. So, for example, grocery shopping, I'm much farther along on tracking macros and micronutrients and calories in fitness. So I can take the lead in that arena, the grocery shopping arena, and that will help Emilia achieve her fitness goals. Again, at the end of the day, and Emilia and I have something called the we. The we is where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And that's what Kevin and Taryn are doing with this relationship agreement. It's basically making sure that you're working in perfect harmony towards common goals more effectively than you would without one another. And I think that's absolute fire.
And when we got to the end of the day, just to speak to what Alan was saying, Taryn literally said, like, I feel like we were a great team. I feel like we worked together really well today, and I'm happy. That's what I'm grateful for when we did our nightly gratitudes. I'm grateful that we worked so well together as a team today.
It's a little weird like this.
I like it. So if you're listening to this where we are trying something different, I feel like my face is not zoomed. It's hard to say.
So basically we're on YouTube looking at the camera instead of at each other while podcasting. That's the difference.
When you put your hands up, it zooms in on your hands.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Well, I think it would help if you looked at me. Are you looking at me right now?
I'm looking at you.
See,
yeah.
I'm looking at you, so
Okay.
I feel like it's a little bit better instead of looking at the camera. But I don't know. Give us some feedback. I think I like it because I think it looks better on YouTube, and I just think it's better.
Sounds good, brother.
That's what I'm going to say. You have anything to add? Sorry, I got to look at you in the camera. Do you have anything to add or no?
No, I think we're good.
You dig it?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we have been speaking about in the last 100 episodes, Alan and I are still taking on one-on-one clients. I'm leaning more into podcasting. Again, it might sound like something you can't afford, but we have some sort of service or solution for every single price point. So if you have a show that you want to grow, monetize, or scale, let me know. Or if you want to start one, let me know as well. Alan does business things.
Very last thing, actually, I want to ask this. So you said, do you have anything to add? And I do. How does someone create this relationship agreement? So for our listeners, how do they create one?
From my understanding on what I learned in the episode and what Taryn and I did, again, Taryn, I give most of the credit because she's the one who did it, but it was basically all of the things that have to get done, and then you sit down and say, like, hey, I'd love if you'd cook breakfast in the morning. Hey, I'd love if you'd do the shopping. Hey, it's just an open and honest dialogue that gives you the opportunity to say, look, these are all the things that we have to do as a couple.
But it's in an actual contract, right?
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
a written
it's written.
agreement?
Yep. Yeah, it's written, and you can check in on it. And you're signing it. Like, you're signing that I'm going to uphold my end of the bargain.
Yeah, so it provides accountability as well, and everything goes smoother with accountability.
Yeah. So you do business coaching.
Yes. Also, if you have a business, even if you don't yet, but you want to get into business. So I'm helping people in their careers, basically. If you feel like you're not financially successful or you feel like your business is not growing at the rate that you want it to, I'm going to help you achieve your business and career goals. Reach out to me. I promise you the price point is most likely lower than you think. Right now, my current price point specific for listeners at the first tier of business coaching, it's called Next Level Business Solutions. It's actually way lower than the industry standard, and I that's actually on purpose because we have so many aspiring early entrepreneurs who listen to this show who honestly don't have a ton of extra income right now, but that doesn't mean they won't in the future, especially if they work with me. So I am absolutely mastering business every single day. Kevin can attest to that, and I'm going to help you do the same, especially when it comes to a global mindset. You got to act every day in your own life, but you got to think globally because there's so much opportunity out there.
I will just speak. Alan has really, really been the lead in creating what is becoming a multi-six-figure business. So I want to give you all the credit for that.
I appreciate
even
that,
though
brother.
I'm the face of the brand. So
Well,
I will get all the credit for it.
Kevin has helped so much in growing the podcast. That makes sense. That's actually why we've divided and conquered. Speaking of relationship agreement, Kevin runs the Next Level Podcast Solutions side of our business because he's been the one most focused on growing our podcast. I'm doing Next Level Business Solutions because I've been the one most focused on growing the business side of things. So he's building the brand, I'm building the business, but we also work in harmony. And so that's what we're doing for you guys as well. And we do have some clients, by the way, who work with him and with me because they not only want to grow their podcast, but they also want to grow their business.
Boom. Very true. Ladies and gentlemen, we have I think it's a fun episode. I would consider a fun episode coming up next. Dave Meltzer joined us, and we actually got to talk a little bit about him versus Gary Vee, which was an interesting episode. So that one is called You Can't Be Gary Vee Without Consistency, featuring the one and only amazing mentor that we have, David Meltzer. We love you. We appreciate you. And as always, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you on the next one.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.